Okay, so this is part 2. Again, here are the transformations. Now we're going to work on writing our functions given a graph. So flip your paper over to the back, and we're going to talk about how to write those equations. Well, the first thing is you want to identify any asymptotes, central points, middles, highs, and lows. And sometimes that gets kind of tricky. But notice how this gets really close to this vertical line, and this one gets closer and closer to this one. Okay? This is pi divided by 4, so this is 3 pi over 4, and this is negative pi over 4. So that tells me that the period of this function is pi. Therefore, the frequency would be 1. The next thing I want to look at is I want to find the middle of this period. So that's going to be right here. In the middle of this period is going to be that middle point. That's going to tell me any phase shifts or vertical shifts. So the phase shift would be right pi over 4, and the vertical shift is up 1. All right, the next thing I want to look at, and I might want to look at this first, is this more of a tangent or a cotangent? Okay, so remember, tangent is, it's a low, mid, high. And then cotangent is a high, mid, and low. Okay. Also, tangent, it also centers on the x and y-axis, so any phase shifting we can see by this center point. For cotangent, we look for that asymptote on the left, and that kind of tells me my phase shift. My vertical shift, I'll look at that middle point to see how it changes. Okay, so this looks more like a tangent, so I'm going to go ahead and write tangent here. The frequency is 1. There is a phase shift, so that would be x minus pi over 4. And it's an up 1. Then I want to look at other points, my quarter periods. So I go to the left and find a point, and then I go to the right and find a point, and it looks like it's just a 1 in front of tangent here. So y equals tangent of x minus pi over 4 plus 1. Okay. The next one here is cotangent. So it looks like it gets closer and closer to the y-axis and closer to pi. So that tells me that the period is pi and the frequency is 1. Okay, the next thing I want to look for is, does it look like a tangent or a cotangent? So this one's going to look like a cotangent. Okay, then the question is there a phase shift? So I find the middle. And there is no phase shift because the back of it is still on the y-axis. So that's going to be x, but there is a vertical shift of down 2. So this middle point is down 2. The next thing I want to find is that vertical stretch here, that multiplier. So I go 1 quarter period to the left, and then I go 1 quarter period to the right. And it appears that that's a difference of 1, 2, 3. So there's a 3 in front of that, y equals. Okay, here's another one. Here appears to be an asymptote and an asymptote. Okay, or I could use this one back here, either way. If I used this asymptote right here, I could call this a negative tangent because it is still centered at the origin. So I could just say a negative tangent of x. The difference would be my frequency, so I'd need to know what my frequency was. All right, so let's figure out our period here. So that's 4 pi, so each one of these units is pi. So the period is going to be 4 pi. The frequency would be pi divided by 4 pi, which is 1/4. So this will be a 1/4 x. There's one equation. If I wanted to do the cotangent, then I have to phase shift over by 2 pi. So I'd have y equals cotangent 1/4 x minus 2 pi. And remember, these are cofunctions, so they all coexist. Okay, so here's my asymptotes. That looks to be at pi over 2, and this is 0. So my period here is pi over 2. My frequency is going to be pi divided by pi over 2, which is just 2. Okay, and then if that's pi over 2, so halfway between is right here, so it's going to go down 2, and we'll call it a cotangent since it backs up to the y-axis and it goes from a high, mid, low. And if I go quarter period to the left, I'm right here, quarter period to the right, and there. So the vertical stretch is 1, so y equals cotangent of 2x minus 2. Okay, asymptote right here and right here. So that appears the period is 3 pi. The frequency would be pi divided by 3 pi, which is 1/3. If I find the middle right here, it appears there is no vertical shifting. And I can either do a negative cotangent, since it backs up, or I can do a tangent with a phase shift. So if I do a negative cotangent, I got to find my quarter periods. So let's see here, that's the half. So at 3. And that would be a 2 and a 2. So 2 negative cotangent 1/3 x. Or if I do a tangent, then I have to phase shift it over here. To that would be 3 pi over 2. Yeah, 3 pi over 2. Okay. So I would have a 2 tangent of 1/3 times x minus 3 pi over 2. Those would be my two equations. Again, I only have to choose one. Okay, last one here. I have an asymptote. I'm right there and right there. Okay, so that's going to be 5 pi over 6. So here's pi, and it's divided into 6, and this is a negative pi over 6. So the period, that distance, is pi. So the frequency would be 1. Okay, then I want to find the middle, 1, 2, 3, and that's right here at 1. Okay, so this can be a tangent. Alright, so I have a phase shift here. This will be 2 pi over 6. 2 pi over 6 is, so that's pi over 3. So my phase shift would be right pi over 3, up 1, and I'm looking at a tangent. Frequency is 1, and then I need my multiplier. So I'll go 1.5. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's how you write the equations. Your assignment is actually in quizzes, so go into Canvas and you can, or go into quizzes and you'll see those waiting for you.